Okay. I might have an echo in this, but I'm not quite sure. 1 second. Let me do this. All right. So I hope you guys can hear me now and there's no echo and nothing. Thank you so much for waiting. Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm here. And life just happens sometimes. And this is a much better muhurta, anyways, a much better time to do this live. That's why I pushed it out because some of you guys know that I've been taking Vedic astrology courses and I'm so mad in love with it because it is so precise. And I'm not offering readings yet, but of course, that's what I'm working towards, clearly. But not today and not tomorrow because I still have a lot to learn. But if you would like me to practice on you, for sure. And I will be using it in readings, but not specifically. By the way, if you would like to book a reading, please do. The link is at the top of the chat, or you can check the description box where the link always is to get your reading for 2026. I don't think I'm too far off most times, and so it might be worth it to you. Anyhow, let's dive in and see what's coming up. And I have some points that I wrote down, and clearly we're going to be talking about one massive major point, which is Iran and the Iran Spring or the Arabian Spring, which I spoke about. I think it's in the prediction for 2026, if you guys want to go back and check that, or in the prediction for January or February, where I spoke about an Arabian Spring that is coming up and things happening around there. And I remember someone asking me, do you think that the spring is going to last? Do you think that everything positive that is happening is going to last? And I was like, I am not getting that feeling. It's going to look good for a second, and then all of a sudden, as quickly as it began, it will be over. And that's still the feeling I'm getting because it's a system that we're looking at there, right? So just because you're taking out the head of the system doesn't mean that the system is going to grow back. Again, I posted that on my Facebook page and the live before this live, before the live before this live, I spoke about that, right? That we are the system. There's nobody at the top that we don't allow to be there. And we don't keep there. We don't maintain there through compliance and so on and so forth. And largely because we don't know who to trust, right? So we don't know who to band with or who to bond with because we don't know who to trust anymore. So, yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. And let's dive into this week's topics. And we'll be talking about the AI bidding war, the Arabian Spring, the carving out of the Middle East, and what and who is next. I might get into that. I might do an extra video on that. So, as I see. So, the first thing I want to talk about, and I'll share with you guys, is the Anthropic thing. So I don't know if you guys heard about it or noticed it, but let me pull that up. 1 second. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Do. Ooh. Yeah. All right. So there you have it. And so what am I talking about here? I'm talking about Sam Altman posting on February 28th. Tonight, we reached an agreement with the Department of War to deploy our models. So those of you that don't know who Sam Altman is, he runs OpenAI. OpenAI is what's behind ChatGPT. So ChatGPT basically, yes, your friendly neighborhood chatbot AI is going to work for the Department of War. And in all of our interactions, the Department of War displayed a deep respect for safety and a desire to partner to achieve the best possible outcome. Now, what's all interesting about this and what got people going is because the DOW was actually first, right? The US government, what they were working with Anthropic. And apparently for Anthropic, it was just, management stuff, administration stuff. It wasn't that big of a deal. But some way, somehow, rumor has it that it was used in Venezuela, Anthropic, Claude, everybody's other favorite neighborhood chatbot AI. It was used in Venezuela some way, somehow, to get the Venezuelan president, right? So when the Department of War approached Anthropic again to now use it full scale in the US military, Anthropic said, no, we can't, with our firm conscience, we can't do that. No, because apparently, rumor has it that the Department of War wanted to use it for autonomous systems, and autonomous systems could be expanded into autonomically deciding who lives and who, like completely taking the human out of the, let's call it annihilation process. And so Anthropic is like, no, like we're not even sure our bot could do that. And even if it could do that, we don't want it to do that. And that's not what we're here for. And yeah. So, anyways, that led to this ongoing war that is now happening between Anthropic and Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei and their Department of War, specifically Pete Hegseth, who says that they are a supply chain risk now because they don't want to work with Department of War. And Pete Hegseth formulating that specifically in that specific way, right, opens up possibilities for the US government to basically sabotage Anthropic, to basically stop them from operating the way that they're operating, or at least throw some major rocks in their way. So Sam Altman, if you guys have read up on him, he was the one that held a speech a couple weeks ago where he was talking about, comparing humans and raising humans being as intensive, if not more intensive, than raising AI. The topic was about water and how much water AI needs, the data centers need. And he was saying, well, you invest in a human being too until they're able to work like 20 years of food and water and raising them. And people kind of chuckled. But when you stop to think about what he actually said, right? When you stop to think about what he actually said. So, anyways, Sam's like, hey, we're going to work with the Department of War, no problem. And we're going to tell the Department of War what to do. Now, it is important, yeah, that these AI companies do work with the government in way of regulation. Yes, sure, administration. We all understand the problem that if one doesn't do it, the other will, and you want to make sure that the right guys do it, that in air quotes, but who is the right guy at this point? But that certain factions don't have access or are at least not at the beginning of the curve, right? The beginning of the arc towards wherever it's growing into. We get that. And but at the same time, things are escalating way past being able to hold on to this. And so for sure, AI has been deployed now in Iran, has been used in the situation there. If any of you guys watched the bombings and how precise they were, it's actually it's pretty scary, you guys. So, anyways, Sam Altman is saying here we are asking the DOW to offer. Oh, we will deploy on cloud networks only. We will deploy, ensure safety. So he's saying all the right things. We're asking the DOW to offer these same terms to all AI companies, which in our opinion, we think everyone should be willing to accept. We have expressed our strong desire to see things de escalate away from legal and governmental actions and towards reasonable agreements. We remain committed to serve all of humanity as best we can. The world is a complicated, messy, and sometimes dangerous place. Now, the question is who makes it dangerous, but that's a whole other topic in time, right? So, anyways, people weren't happy. People left ChatGPT. I don't think enough left ChatGPT. Strangely enough, Claude had a fallout today. Claude just went offline. And let me see if I can pull something up on that. But yeah, Claude disappeared. Claude offline. Claude is down. Yeah. So here, this is just from 2 hours ago, but it's been off pretty much all day. Deny. Anthropic cloud outage. AI chatbot goes offline following Trump and Pentagon blow up. Just days after President Trump slammed Anthropic for disputes over wartime use of its AI, a major cloud outage has stretched on for hours. Right. So they're saying now that the service has been fully restored following more than 4 hours of technical issues. But yeah, it was gone. So who knows what's happening? It could be random, right? It could just be server issues. It could be, I don't know, network issues. It could be, who knows? I don't know. I'm not in there. But it's all adding up, you guys. It's just all adding up. Yeah. So what do you guys think of this? And what do you see as the complications? So people are really, Sam on his X here, he's getting a lot of hate comments. So this is why he said there's more open debate than I thought there would be, at least in this part of Twitter, about whether we should prefer a democratically elected government or unelected private companies to have more power. I guess this is something people disagree on, but I don't. This seems like an important area for more discussion. I think the question behind a lot of the questions, but I haven't seen quite articulated, what happens if government tries to nationalize OpenAI or other AI efforts? I obviously don't know. I have thought about it, of course, but it doesn't seem super likely on the current trajectory. That said, I do think a close partnership between governments and the companies building this tech is super important. I mean, he's not wrong there. People take their safety in the national security sense more for granted than I realized, which I think is a good thing on balance, but I don't think shows enough respect to the tremendous work it takes for that to happen. So here he's hinting at, this is something that needs to be done and so on and so forth. We all knew this was going to happen. And so I guess the question remains if AI should be government should develop their own AI and utilize it and what that would mean and what that would look like, or if they should continue to contract private companies to do that work for them. And then, you know, kind of the private company regulates the government regulates the private company, or one in my hand washes the other, or like what happens? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. But so that happened. Yeah. And then what happened? The US started with Iran and Iran is retaliating. And of course, people are, I'm kind of honestly, I'm on the fence about this because Khamenei, yeah. I but when we start cleaning up the world, where do we begin and where do we end and how much because again, it's the system, right? We are the system. So just taking out one human life, okay? One human life that has, yes, a lot of, and his henchmen. So it wasn't just him. Like they took out his entire, all of his loyal to him people. Um, but still, that's like 10 or 11, maybe I think it was officially. So in a country of how many million? So who are they going to replace that with? Who's going to head in there? Now, what's interesting is that there have been some ideas over time, and so I'll share with you some of the ideas. And one is called the Yinon article. This one is It's a geopolitical opinion essay. And let me just pull it up 1 second here. Ah, Lordy, this planet. So I'll go back to screen sharing. So that's just easier. So one is the Yinon Plan. And what it really is a geopolitical opinion essay. Oded, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Yinon argued that many Middle Eastern states were fragile because colonial borders grouped different ethnic and religious communities together. His argument was that fragmentation in neighboring countries could make Israel safer. So it was never really officially adopted as Israeli government strategy. It reflected a strain of thinking common during the Cold War and breaking large adversarial states into smaller ones. And in hindsight, some countries did fragment, like Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, which is why people revisit the article today, but that doesn't mean it was orchestrated. So it was just thinking, you know. Then the second one was called A Clean Break, and this is from 1996. And let me just look that up 1 second. A Clean Break policy paper. So this is, yeah, a new strategy for securing this realm. And as you can read, it's a policy document that was prepared in 1996 by a study group led by Richard Pearl for Benjamin Netanyahu. And the report explained a new approach to solving Israel's security problems in the Middle East with an emphasis on Western values. It has since been criticized for advocating an aggressive new policy, including the removal of Saddam Hussein from power in Iraq, the containment of Syria, and highlighting its possession of weapons of mass destruction. So it's interesting, you know? Like, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just putting it out there for food for thought here. But this one apparently is closer to real policy thinking, but it's still not a government plan. It was written by a group of strategists advising Israel's incoming leadership at the time. The document suggested moving away from land for peace negotiations, weakening hostile regional regimes, building alliances with non Arab regional powers, confronting threats like Syria and Iraq, and some of the authors later held roles in US policy circles, which is why critics connect it to later Middle East strategy debates. But yeah, right? Yeah, no. So, yeah. Then there's some maps that were floating around online, some greater Israel maps. But yeah. So, yeah. 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 Anyways, let me come back to you guys. You guys let me know what you think. Like, I don't know what to think. I'm just I'm just feeling into the energy currents and telling you what I'm feeling, what I'm picking up. But yes, this that something was going to happen in the Middle East was very clear when I was doing the read ahead for the year. And also last week we dove in then last week's live and looked to see if it was coming up, right? If this is the beginning of World War III, that was the actual question that was asked, and the answer was no, not yet. But that the US would drop some bombs, that things would light up, the press would go wild. But by June, it should be, March, April. We're now in March, April, May, June. It will have kind of died down. And they will now be looking to place the new government as soon as possible to stabilize as soon as possible, right? So that is probably their next plan because they don't want what's happening, like Iran shooting off all over the place, to continue. But like I said in the last video, Iran has no friends there. And the other Muslim countries are not unhappy that this has happened. That's not what I'm picking up at all. They kind of are relieved. And Iran has been seen as the hub, along with Pakistan, by the way, a hub of terrorist financing. So believe that as you will. I don't know. I'm just repeating what I heard. But I do see the next step as being trying to carve out the Middle East, redraw some lines. I mean, one of the things that people talk about with the Middle East, why they're saying that so much is happening there as well, is yes, of course, there's the spiritual point of view where we think, okay, there are portals there, there's some kind of energy there, there's something there that's really, really, really um, important in a way. But it's also the colonial lines, the old colonial lines on the map, because a lot of these countries were just drawn right through tribal territories, different belief territories, with no respect or regard for how it was naturally, organically organized. And so now that has created this instability as they're all still not finding the balance and still not managing to find peace because these are not their natural, ways of how they organize things. So that's another thing people are talking about. Maybe we need to redraw everything and let them redraw it, which isn't a good idea now. But maybe we need to redraw everything because the original lines that were drawn by British colonialists and others during the Victorian era, like they're no longer, it doesn't work. It clearly doesn't work. So we'll have a look with the cards and see what's coming up. And as always, you guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Those of you that are new to the channel, I hope you click like, subscribe, and share, and that you drop comments. I need comments because comments drive the algorithm. It sees that you are engaged and that this channel is amazing and that you should be following it, and it puts it out there. And guess what? I get more subscribers and I put out better content, and you know the way it goes. So please subscribe, like, and share, and help a girl out, would you? So we'll have a look with the cards what the next step is likely going to be. And if you would like your personal question answered, please check the chat box because all the way at the top, you're going to see a pinned comment with a link and you can pre-book your question there. I would be so grateful. And another thing before I forget is the telekinesis workshop. I haven't really mentioned it, but it is coming up on March 6th. If you haven't signed up for it, it is 4 weeks of amazing fun with Brian Lahr, where we learn to move and lift things and make things spin around. Join us because there's so much that he's teaching that is the foundation of telekinesis that actually goes beyond or is absolutely necessary for us to be master, right? First, before we can do that. And so this is a really, really, really worth it course. If you really want to learn how to harness your energy, build your energy, work with your energy, cleanse your energy, disconnect your energy from any and all evil things. You want to really learn how to work with your energy? This is it. Brian is amazing in how he teaches. He's funny, he's witty, he's light, and he actually does and practices what he teaches, and he's amazing. So sign up for that. The link is going to be in the description box after I post this video. And make sure that you're there. We're starting March 6th if you sign up now. And then from there, it's every Friday. Okay. So actually, the dates are not 100% set. Once we have the group set, closed, then we'll set the date as best fit for the group. So don't be afraid because you're thinking, oh gosh, I work Fridays, I can't. Sign up anyways, or email me and let me know. Look, I'm interested, give me a better date or what have you, and we'll work something out. Okay. All right. So moving on now. And let's have a look at what is coming up next for the Middle East and between Anthropic and the government and Sam Altman and the government. And then we'll get into your questions. Okay. Let me know in the chat. How are you guys doing? Yay. In Venezuela, many appear to be happy about regime change, but I'm always concerned about the energy or intent behind the change. Yes, yes, that's exactly it. Because as we spoke about in the last chat, I think it was, What was it? We were talking about how the US is going to colonize and how actually Marco Rubio was at the Munich Security Conference and spoke about recolonizing South America. And he literally used that language. He literally used that language saying that the ancestors didn't do anything wrong, and that we shouldn't have stopped colonizing the these countries. Anyhow, go check it out and you can Google it yourself. But I am going to switch and we're going to start with anthropic, I guess, because that's what I started off with. Okay. So, dun 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 dun. All righty. This feels good. Some days you just don't want to be in cam all the time. All right. So what's going on? And we want to look at is Anthropic being threatened in some way? Is Sam like what is going on behind the scenes here? What is happening behind the scenes? And we're going to start off at A with Anthropic and Dario Amadeo, or however you pronounce his last name. Anthropic. Anthropic. What's going on? This is what it is, what it isn't, the next step, the outcome, what they should do, their overall situation. So they are in negotiations right now. Okay. I feel like either they're lawyering up or what have you, but they're looking for lovers not only means love, it's clear, right? It also means contracts, it means obligations, it means agreements, negotiations, that kind of thing. So they are in negotiations, they are looking for a good way forward. They're not averse to working with the government. They realize that this is a decision that is probably a necessity, King of Swords. And so with Anthropic and Claude, this is eventually it's going to happen. I'd say sooner rather than later. And let's see, this is what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of fear in the company. So whatever Hegseth said, there's a lot of fear. The moon is fear, is anxiety, is worry. So it feels like there's a real concern here that things might not go the way that they desire. But there's also a real concern here about because all of a sudden I see it's like a rocket, isn't it? This is like a rocket, and you can see the cloud behind it. Actually, it's a ship sailing to the moon. It's no, it's horses and a carriage sailing to the moon. Okay. So fear, new frontiers, and not knowing where you're headed, not knowing where this is going. This could go anywhere. They don't know what they're going to end up with. So there's a real concern here that is A, holding them back from stepping fully into committing, as they've stated. But there's also a concern of not going forward and not committing and not working with the government. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They were sabotaged. Five of Swords. Okay. So, but it wasn't, I don't feel it was governmental. This is in the not position, right? So they were not. This is what's next is strength. So they're going to show strength. The devil is the outcome. And they're going to be, yeah. So things are going to work out, and Claude is going to come to an agreement with the government. And that is what Sam Altman has been posting on X. He's been saying that um, the government shouldn't be classifying Anthropic as a threat or as a supply chain, supply link threat. Like that goes a little bit too far. But that AI companies, there are others that have signed contracts with the government. It's not just OpenAI, it's not just Anthropic, and that they should be a part of this and work with the government to develop stricter regulations around the use and monitoring. So that's what he's saying. So I feel with these cards, Anthropic is going to go in the same direction. They're going to make a deal, but they're always going to feel, and these are the cards about how they feel, right? So they're always going to feel like or Dario was going to feel like they make it a deal with the devil. Okay. Deal with the devil. But it's they're going to be very strict, and they're actually going to be strong about pushing through their beliefs, pushing through what they feel needs to be happening, pushing through their safeguards, maintaining their safeguards, and being very, very strong about that. Okay. Now, what's coming up for ChatGPT? And is Chatty going to war? Is GPT going to war? Is GPT going to fight our battles for us? Is GPT going to fight the battles for us? Chatty. So, what's going on with chat? This is what it is, isn't. Next step, outcome. Yeah. So they're going to become more and more non-transparent. Ace of Wands. They see this is clearly an opportunity. Okay. So this is a serious opportunity. And we've got the Ace of Wands. It's a new beginning. It's a new era. This is the marking of a new era. There might be some new things built in alignment with that. It will be used for destruction. Nine of Swords. Okay. There are real headaches about that. There are ethical things about that. People are that are working there. I feel like this looks like the masses that are holding up this machine kind of thing. And there's a lot of concern here. Now, one of the concerns why, okay, Anthropic also said no was because apparently, I don't know, but rumor has it, apparently DOW wanted to use Claude AI, wanted to use AI to surveil their own people, okay? They wanted to surveil their own people and use it for unmanned missions, okay? So those were the two things where Anthropic went, no, we don't like this. And where Sam Altman and OpenAI said, well, life is rough and the world is a weird place and safety isn't free. So, yeah. So when it comes to Chatty, at first it looks like they're standing up and they're taking the charge. They're taking the energy, they're seizing the moment, they're grabbing that. And it's all about being at the forefront, being at the vanguard, being at the pole position, and doing some exciting things in air quotes. What this is not is it's not the exact fulfillment of their desire. So even Sam Altman, even OpenAI has some thoughts about this. It's not feeling as fulfilling as they thought it would be. And not only that, but I feel like they didn't, both sides, I won't say they didn't because that would be really naive, right? And we're all not that naive. And we're not going to say they didn't design it without war in mind, and not like they haven't already used it for certain situations, but they did, I feel, have more of an intention or an inclination to serve desire fulfillment, right? To fulfill desires of humanity, to heal humanity, if you will, to um, feed humanity in a certain way, if you guys know what I'm saying, versus using it for battle or assertion or dominance or to stand at the front of the food chain. Okay. So this isn't exactly what he was expecting to use it for, but it almost feels like, you're dealing with one person who sees the world through a very cynical lens and is just deeply tired and exhausted by people, and another person who is stubbornly hopeful, who's like, no, we haven't lost yet. Humanity, there's still something to fight for. There's still something to hope for. So the likely next step with Claude, no, with OpenAI is the Knight of Swords. Yes, Chatty is going to war. Chatty has already been to war. And the outcome we've got here is the Seven of Swords. And so it's going to be deceptive. It is absolutely, it's going to be used for deception. It's going to be how it's going to be used is also going to be deceived. We're going to be deceived about its use, about how it's used, and especially how far the development has come, right? And the Eight of Cups, the topic itself is just going to move away. Well, just like everything else, you guys know, kids, food, certain kinds of meals. It's all in a day's news cycle. So it's like, whatever, right? Eight of Cups. And they're just waiting for that because they know that the public, the collective quickly gets exhausted. So it's eventually going to die off. Eight of Cups. But it's not going anywhere. Like as much as we'd like to say, oh yeah, it's going anywhere, it's going to be gone. Things no, no, it'll just leave the chat cycle. So, yeah. All right. What is the next step? What is coming up with Iran? What is coming up with Iran? What is coming up with Iran? And let me see here. Da, da. Leah, as you're reading the cards to me, I'm feeling like the making and deployment of the nuclear bomb that didn't turn out well. Nope, didn't turn out well. And maybe that's the Eight of Cups, like the nuclear bomb, like all of a sudden they stopped talking about it and people didn't really, it went to the back of people's minds again. Yeah. Yeah. So Iran, let's see here. What's coming next for Iran, please? What is the long-term view for Iran? And let's just have a look forward to, for some reason, I'm hearing November, Scorpio season. So let's do that. Let's do that. A look forward, the development arc from now until November for Iran. The foot it stands on, the basis, where it is now, what it was in, what it just came out of, where it's headed, the outcome, the overall energy, please. And we've got the Three of Pentacles and yeah, it's the slow buildup. So the overall energy is the Three of Pentacles, a working together, a collaboration, a coming together of sorts. And the Seven of Pentacles is that this is going to take a long time. Something is stuck, something is not moving forward the way that they'd hoped, right? In a sense. So the Seven of Pentacles is looking and self-reflecting and looking at what went wrong, looking at how things became the way they became. And I guess I didn't finish my sentence earlier, but like I said in one of my Facebook posts where I was speaking about we are the system, right? So when people don't engage, they don't act. I mean, Karl Lagerfeld, whatever, Dior can come out and say bell bottoms are the new season. They're the new pants this season. Nobody wears bell bottoms. Guess what? It flopped. It didn't work. As long as we keep showing up and keep showing up to work and keep showing up to support machinations, guess what's going to happen? So it's a system in Iran that's the issue here, and it's not going to go away just by taking out a handful of people, right? One second. Ah, I had. Okay, perfect. All right. So it's not going to go away by taking. So they're going to be looking at what went wrong, how things didn't work out, why things didn't work out, reflecting on what made people become who they became, be who they are. Sorry, you guys. I have to fix that because I hate when the camera goes in and out. So there we go. Okay, so they're going to be looking at that, okay, and being who they are, voting the way they vote, the government structures that they put in place. I mean, they understand it all, but still, it's going to take time for people to shift away from that and to move into something new. And then something new that they're going to be moving into has to be built. So this Three of Pentacles is coming together, brainstorming, thinking about things, reflecting on what worked in the past elsewhere in similar situations, that kind of thing. That's going to dominate. They're expecting like all this stuff that Iran is doing, like these retaliatory strikes. They're kind of expecting it, you know, and taking it. They knew that was going to happen, and they're taking it in stride. Okay. So the foundation of this with Iran, we've got the Six of Pentacles. And so the Six of Pentacles, as we know, has to do with give and be given. And it's it feels as if the Six of Pentacles is I don't want to, it's one of my smaller karma cards, right? So it's they had it coming. And this doesn't mean that it is justified. I'm being absolutely neutral here. Just what the card is saying is the Six of Pentacles is the smaller karma card. So this means prayers are answered. It's giving to a gift to the poor, that kind of thing, but also receiving your just rewards, receiving the answers to your prayers. Okay. So it feels like the foundation is that a lot of people prayed for this. The foundation is that it was overdue, it was coming, and it was on its way. Okay. Where Iran is now, we've got the Four of Pentacles. So they're kind of holding on to the past. They're stuck a little. Okay. And feeling like, oh, wait, wait, that was my grandfather. That was my great grandfather. That was my dad. Like there's this personalizing it and a little bit of public collective grief, which is, of course, you know, to be expected. And of course, but there's a little bit the energy is a little bit nostalgic, reaching to the past, and we always do that when we're uncertain of the future, when we don't know what the future holds, we don't know where it's headed, we don't know where it goes. But that's another thing that you can see live in Iran, you know, is that you can literally cut off the head, but the body remains. I mean, people are still going to work, right? Just because it doesn't mean that everything stops. Everything continues because we're the ones that make the wheel turn. We're the ones that make it continue. As a matter of fact, there was this quote that I read, and I'm going to share that with you because I think that it's really important at this point to put this in here. So let me pull it up. And it was this saying that somebody had posted on do. I have to add the image. Screenshots. I'm sorry, you guys. I know this is but this is just how my brain works. So there you go. So I hope you can see it. And it says they've hit that sweet spot where it's both normalized, but still, they're talking about the Epstein files, right? And it was on this video about the Epstein files, where it's both normalized, still stigmatized enough that you don't want to bring it up. It's absolutely a downer topic and not water cooler talker. But you know what? People are still angry about it. They're not letting it go. I leave a thought I saw in another video. We've been convinced by history books that throughout time, people in control made decisions that shaped our path. There's almost this mythos of presidents and rulers making things happen, when in reality, most of the major events in history were a perfect storm of multiple factors, and rulers try to make moves to feel in control. They're not really in control the way they portray. They don't really have the world by the balls. The world is chaos, and all the power in the world can't save them from that. So you can go back to that and have a look at it, right? Pause it. But yeah, that's exactly what came up in my mind when I was looking at this, because it's just taking out the leadership. They have to change the system, and that's going to be the work for the next couple months. And we'll see how far they get. We'll see how it, how it evolves. So where it's coming from, what they were in for a long time was uncertainty, Two of Pentacles. And this is kind of a misleading picture chosen for this card because it actually represents juggling two states of being of two minds, being uncertain, being undecided, one day moving forward, the next day moving back, straddling two spheres in a sense, right? Then moving forward, they had the Queen of Wands. Okay. And this makes me think of it's such a Persian picture. But the Queen of Wands is someone who's willing to act, who's willing to take action on something. And I think that's what they were going up against. That's what they were talking about, right? So that Iran was the backer of a lot of nefarious things in this world. Again, not to justify anything. I'm saying what they are saying. I don't know for sure. But this is the reasoning behind why this is happening. And but the Queen of Wands is indicating someone that is willing to act. It's also a fiery sign, right? Take actions on their beliefs, take actions on their convictions. And the Wands don't think about things for a long time. They don't think things through like the Pentacles or, the Cups. They just act. They have an impulse and they act. So there was something very impulsive, very not knowing if it's going to go this way or that way. And this is what led to this. Okay. Now, how it's going to continue for them, we've got the Seven of Cups. Yeah. Sifting through illusions and learning discernment, knowing what's what. And the outcome is the Three of Wands, a new vision. And I think maybe that's when the actual spring that I was seeing before might start. Okay. That's when the actual spring, like this rejuvenation time, this rebuild time, this modernization time as well begins. And it's the Three of Wands, new outlook, new beginning. And that's when the spring that I saw before begins. But like I said, I don't feel, and I'll say that again, I don't feel it's something that's going to last. It'll be there, yes, but I don't think this is the way it's going to be now moving forward forever for Iran. Okay. So, yes. But the biggest thing that they're going to be stepping into is making decisions moving forward, deciding things. So again, I don't see a war breaking out. I don't see China getting involved. Let's actually have a look and see, is China going to get involved? Is Russia going to get involved? What's going to happen here? China, Russia. Is there anybody else worth getting involved? Anybody else? Random from the side here. So China, Five of Wands, yeah. They're they feel the sting, but this is not enough. A Wands card is not a war card, right? So when I'm looking for war, I'm looking for Ten of Swords. I'm looking for the Death card. I'm looking for Five of Swords. This is just struggling. This is complaining. This is, feeling a certain way about things, but it's not yet really getting into the thick of it. Plus, this is preparation, right? So I feel like they're more preparing than anything for their own stuff. When it comes to Russia, we've got the Three of Pentacles. So they're behind the scenes. Low key, I feel like the US and Russia are a lot closer than they're letting on and that they're letting us think. Because this came up before, remember, with the Three of Pentacles. It came up as part of the planning process, the evaluation process of how things are going to continue. So Russia is definitely going to have a voice in that. Okay. Definitely going to have a voice in that. And is there anybody else? And that's a no. Ten of Wands. Okay, they're going to carry the burden. Yeah. So you guys, let me switch back to me, baby. But there you have it. That's what I'm getting, and we'll see how it works out. We'll see how it all pans out, but I'm pretty confident that that's pretty much what's going to happen. So that doesn't mean that it's going to be unstable, right? So that doesn't mean when I say that, like I'm the big picture here, right? zooming out. And it doesn't mean that they're not going to have bombs all next week and it's going to go back and forth. And then it's going to look like it's going to escalate and then it's going to die down again. And then something might happen. That's another thing I saw was big issues around planes, travel. There might be a plane. I keep seeing that some kind of a plane crash that's going to play a role. I keep seeing that I saw that already last year, I think for the 2026, and some kind of a significant plane crash that's going to play a role. Now, they did down a plane. Americans did over, I think it was over Philippine waters or something like that, out there somewhere. It's when one of the ministers of Khomeini was flying back, something like that, and they took that plane out. I'm not quite sure, so dig into that, look that up, please. Don't take my word for it. But I think that's what I heard. And but that's not the plane that I felt. It's something else. It's something bigger. It's something that's gonna dominate headlines and something about traveling, a plane, like all that's still coming. Um, so I feel like, yeah, this is just going to ping pong a little bit until it stabilizes and settles. And by November, though, there should be this springtime feeling coming up, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Let's have a look. Oh, Leah, no, you're so sweet. Thank you for commenting. I hope that the others comment too and let me know what they think and what they feel and what they see. And thank you for commenting and for chatting because it helps me orient too and know, where to go with this. So, yeah. Okay. So I'll dive in. If you guys have any more questions about, yeah, if you guys have any more questions about this, let me know. And otherwise, I'll dive into your questions. And so the first one I got was from someone asking, at our Toronto office, our morale has hit a new low. Head office just laid off almost 10% of our staff. Do they have plans to eventually close down this office? If not now, maybe in a few years. Oh, so let's have a look. And at our Toronto office, morale has hit a new low. Hmm. Hmm. Toronto office, morale has hit a new low. Aaron Leo. It feels like offers are coming in. Hmm. Aaron, the first card that came out was the Page of Cups and the Magician, the Emperor, the Five of Pentacles. Yeah. It definitely doesn't feel yeah, it doesn't feel stable there and it doesn't feel like there's a real head to the story, like a real head to the situation. And it feels like it feels like there's a control move that's being made, right? So There's a control, like it's trying to structure, it's trying to take over, but there's no real energy behind it. There's no real head behind it, but they're still trying to take control, the emperor. And it's a page of cups scenario where everybody's trying to not really that invested. So it's weird, right? It's this weird energy of not being truthfully invested, needing to get the morale up, needing to spin things, needing to get things under control, but not actually having the energy to make that happen, to bond within the team or within the group. And the big fear and what is moving towards is the Five of Pentacles, is money issues. Okay. Like the company and money issues. What's the outcome, please? Ace of, but all will be well. Ace of Cups. It's, I feel by July, because the cups are summertime, by the July, things will have pendled out, right? Things will have come into balance. Okay. So that's what I'm picking up here. Yeah. I hope that helps. Just hang in there until July. They're just trying to regain control over some situation. And I feel they've projected. I don't feel that they're in a financial situation yet, but they may have projected a final situation or are trying to get ahead of that. But nobody's really invested, right? Because it's not their company. They're working for somebody, right? So a lot of times where we're in these situations and it gets so dense and intense, we start taking things personally and people start acting personally. But I don't feel that you have anything to worry about at all. And it's still, keep your options open, right? Keep your options open. If you really feel pulled to start applying somewhere and looking somewhere else, go for it because that may be a new position calling you. But strictly from the cards and towards the situation, I don't see anything that's really that you need to be worried about. This is all them, okay? Alrighty, moving onward. And let's have a look at the next question. And we've got Amy and an old friend that you see and navigate with at work. That's always tricky when you have these work friends and then you're not work friends anymore and then you have to go still. And even worse it is when you have yeah, even worse when you have, what do you call it? A relationship. So let's have a look here. Amy, work friend. Amy, work friend. And the overall energy, Amy, is yeah, we've got the magician. Like work is always a place where it's all about power, eh? Like where we're always having to show up in our full power, dominate. Nine of Wands, heavy energy. What it is, and we've got actually you guys are very balanced, but something is unclear. Something was unspoken and needs to be spoken. We've got the Five of Cups. Yeah. Something happened which is very unfair or you feel is very unfair and remains unspoken, but we've got the Three of Cups, so things are going to move back into balance soon if you just relax. And Two of Cups, look at that. And King of Pentacles. So it could be that your friend has a new boyfriend or has a husband or has somebody, right? That, or maybe even a son, who knows, or a father or something like that, that she's more focused on, might be a boss, but some kind of a male figure that she's more oriented around. And you're very disappointed. Something is not spoken about, hasn't been shared, hasn't been cleared. And either you clear it or you wait. But whatever you do, it doesn't matter. It's going to lead back to you guys are going to harmonize soon again. Okay. Things are going to work out for you. All right. So this is just a phase that you're passing through. There's nothing for you to worry about. It looks like your friend is orienting about some around someone else. This is also indicating how you can act towards this situation is just being very grounded, very stable, and just, watching the seasons go by, not letting yourself be affected. And you'll see that everything is going to work out again. Three of Cups, Two of Cups. This is friendship and harmony and peace and balance. But again, I honestly, I also feel like this may be a romantic relationship that she's been circling. Now, if this is a male friend of yours that you're talking about, then he has romantic interests in you. Okay. So, but there's someone at your work that has romantic interests in you, by the way. That's what I'm picking up. Okay. All righty. So, Christiana, what does Spirit say I should focus on during this current retrograde and eclipse? For Christiana, what should Christiana focus on during this current retrograde and eclipse? What does Spirit need to focus on during this current retrograde and eclipse? Christiana, focus on, don't focus on, next step, outcome, advice, overall energy. We've got the High Priestess. This is really important for you to follow your own intuition. Okay. High Priestess. Follow your own intuition, meditate, Ace of Cups, do things that make you happy. Um, and this doesn't mean fulfill your every whim, right? But it does mean do things that make you happy. It does mean um, in the sense of, spiritually happy. There we go. Making your soul happy. Looking at foundations, beautifying your home, things of that nature. Okay. Then we have the Chariot, the Nine of Wands, the Seven of Cups. Outcome is the Page of Pentacles and the Hierophant. There's a lot here about spirituality and spiritual growth and choosing the right thing. Okay, why do I say that? Because of the Hierophant. It has to do with beliefs and belief systems. The Hierophant can also indicate wedding, right? Or marriage. And here, a decision that is still open, kind of thing. Discernment, Seven of Cups. Confusion, discernment, making the right choice, a small offer, an offer too little, too late, or something along those lines. Movement, the Chariot, standing up for yourself, Nine of Wands. So now is not the time to be super defensive, okay? And to think that everything is against you or the world is against you. It's about moving forward with grace and with strength and acting on your impulses that you get from spirit in your quiet moments. So, really tuning into that, feeling into that, and you'll see yourself moving through difficult, challenging situations where you have to make some tough choices because you don't know what things are going to look like. You don't know what this is really about. You don't know what you're going to get from this, but trusting that. And even the smallest step is going to lead you forward. Okay. And a major shift in your beliefs, a major shift in how you perceive the world in the sense of how you actually act. So, not just the beliefs you think about, but the beliefs you act on, live out, experience, that kind of thing. But there is also a focus in your mind on marriage, on weddings, on love, on stabilizing that, right? Legitimizing that. So this is a theme that is going to run through, I'd say, for the next five, because this is 5 months. That's where my eye fell. And but things are going to work out for you just fine. And it's going to be a new beginning. Something is shaping up to a new beginning here because there's a decision that leads you into a new beginning. Okay. This may tie together with a move, the Chariot. All right. So you're still contemplating a move or thinking about a move or wishing for a move or praying for a move, trying to find a way for a move. And it might happen. It might absolutely happen. Okay. So I hope that helps. Then we've got Danny. You guys are so sweet. Is it safe to let my 13-year-old son walk to and from school starting September? And That is, yeah, no. We've got the Seven of Swords, and Seven of Swords is always caution. It's a caution card. Okay. Sorry. It's a caution card, a card of caution, and asking you to be cautious, asking you to look twice, asking you to, yeah, take care. So this is something, and it doesn't necessarily mean that something would happen to him, but it could be anxiety, yeah, temperance. He still needs time, and yeah, it would be a struggle. Five of Wands, a real struggle for him internally. Okay, so or it's a struggle for you internally, maybe he wants to go and says, Mom, I can do this, leave me alone. And you're like, nah. But the first card was caution. Be careful. Be careful. Okay. So I hope that helps. And Shaka, will I find a better neighborhood to move to this summer? Will I find a better neighborhood to move to this summer? Shaka, will I find a better neighborhood to move to this summer? 1 second here. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Better neighborhood to move to this summer. And we've got the Hanged Man. This is going to take time. Okay. This is going to take some real, it's like the spirit is asking you to reflect on what it is that you really desire. It's also, I'm feeling like the perfect place is still being opened up for you. So it's going to take a little bit of time. And the cards that fell out, the one that fell to the top was the Seven of Cups. Making the right decision is coming up. Discernment, discernment. The Empress, you're thinking about your kids and the school as well, and the Star. So, yes. Okay. The overall energy we've got is the Queen of Swords, you having to make some clear decisions. And at the bottom, we've got the Nine of Wands and having to fight for what you want. So, asserting yourself is going to be important in this, standing up for what you want and enduring. Nine of Wands is endurance. The Hanged Man is feeling like, I feel stuck. I feel like you feel like you're stuck, but you're not stuck. It's just waiting for the right time. There's a right time for everything, right? And we can chat after and I can practice with you to find the right timing and to find the muhurta, which is the right time in Vedic astrology for a specific thing. And then you can start looking at the right time to find the right place for yourself. Then here we have the Seven of Cups, which is making the right decision. And we see why the Empress, the mother, and we see the Star as the final card or the outcome, which is really, really, really good. This is saying yes to all your hopes, wishes, and dreams. Yes, as you visualize, so you will receive. Yes, what you hope for and what you pray for can be yours. Okay. But the other cards are showing the way there. that you're going to have to make some really savvy decisions and that you're going to have to stand up for yourself a little bit, stand in for what you want, be powerful about going for what you want, making a clear decision with the Queen of Swords and with a Nine of Wands here, standing up for what you want. Okay. So that's what's coming up. I hope that helps. And Maria, can I please have some clarification on my connection with my ex? We broke up over 5 months ago, but I don't feel like we've been able to really move on. Would appreciate how to navigate the situation. Oof, ex breakup. Not able to move on. Yeah, we see here moving on, though. You have moved on. This is what it is. This is what it's not. Uh, uh, okay, so it feels like this new thing is a fake. You still don't feel like this was the right choice, or he doesn't feel that this was the right choice. There's still the energy of hope of a new beginning in the air, right? So the Seven of Swords is indicating that it was a fake, like it's a fake breakup. You guys are about to talk again. And the Ace of Pentacles is a new beginning, okay? But it could also be that the illusion is that there will be a new beginning and that you're kind of stuck in that, okay? Here we have the Eight of Cups. It is definitely time to move on. It's time to move forward. It's time to pack your little bags and go. And even though you don't know where you're headed or where you're going to end up, it's important for you to start taking steps to regain your energy, regain yourself, regain your life. We know this. So, working out, going out, talking, sometimes even dating, your rotational dating. You don't have to do anything. Just talking to other people, talking to new people, getting new perspectives, and going through that charge of releasing the expectation or the hope to meet a specific kind of person in that sense, letting that all go and opening yourself up to life again. So it's not going to be as hard as you think. A Five of Swords, you're not going to have to tear things out of you or work hard at this. This is not something that's fighting you or battling you. It's just working with your system, working with your timing, the moon. Then we have the Five of Wands. And it feels like, honestly, I feel like he can't let you go either. Okay. So there's this mutual energy going back and forth, but it's not enough for a new beginning. It's not enough the gap is too big now. So the temple has broken, right? So to go back, it's harder to go back than it is now to move forward, but you're still there looking back, of course. So you're going to be wrestling with yourself and just accept that this is part of the process. And eventually something is going to cave, something is going to break down. But to be honest with you, my deep, deep, deep impression with the Empress coming at the end of it is that this is going to resolve. Okay. I know it's been 5 months. I know it sounds crazy, but crazier things have happened. But I have the feeling that you haven't heard the last yet. Okay. You haven't heard the last yet. And this is why your system can't let go because you know that you haven't heard the last yet. So I don't want to make false hope. Like that's the last thing I want to do. You guys know me, but I'm sincerely feeling that. Okay. So, but it's best for you to move on. It's best for you to live your life. Live your life and try to let me turn on the lights. Live your life and try to find the best in it. Okay. Try to find the best in the moment for you. All right. So that is that. I thank you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this. And thank you guys so much for being here with me. And I hope you're with me on the next live as well. Sorry that this one is a little bit all over the place, but I've been talking all day, so I'm a little bit scattered and I'm pulling in my energy to do this. But yeah, where is it? Is this fear or intuition? I'm not sure what that refers to anymore. Um, yeah, thank you guys so much. Those of you that have also donated and for your questions, I sincerely appreciate. Helps me live, and that's very kind of you. All right. So I will close off now, and I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are. And I'm headed into my evening. I'm going to go have dinner. And thank you so much. And we'll see each other during the week with some videos and updates. And otherwise, I'll see you on the next live. And check out my Patreon. A new book is coming up and out this week. It's March. So we're going to start reading a new book. And I'll see you guys again, hopefully in the meetup, the book club meetup, which I'm going to be posting soon. And we can see how far you got with the old books and anything that you want to share, any insights or anything like that, or any ideas for new books. Who knows? All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.